Ladies and gentlemen, Formula Fiends is back for another season of Formula One racing. William Neffner, I'm stoked.
Aiden Hubble, I'm also stoked. Happy to be here, back in the studio. As you can see, we dressed a little bit nice. You might be thinking, oh, they have like a party to go to or something. No.
It's for you guys.
It's for the viewers. We're trying to look a little more professional.
Just wait till we get a desk and
He's wearing
classes
a fucking
in
hat.
session. We're at to work today, so what am I going to do?
Dress shirt enough.
Today we'll have this time stamped, but we're going to go over the rookies, driver friction within the teams, top 5 drivers for the entire year, like the final top 5, and then top 5 constructors teams, and then we'll get into some Australian pre-race usuals.
And then we got some degeneracy betting at the end. Excited to get into that. I know that's not the main point, but
yeah,
it's definitely interesting.
Okay.
Tells a little bit of a story.
So rookies, how do you want to do this? Just go through one by one, thoughts, opinions.
Yeah.
Get your notes out.
Yeah, I guess I can look at my notes. We got some notes. First of all, most rookies, I think we got, well, let's just immediately get into the debate. How many rookies do we have this year?
We have 5 rookies.
We have 5 rookies?
Yeah.
Some would say 6, and if you're not knowing what we're talking about, Mr. Liam Lawson.
The New Zealander himself. Yeah.
Which I could kind of see both ways, but I don't know. It's kind of just...
I think he's just
thing.
like, he's been like a super sub and actually had like a decent stint when Ricardo was hurt. So I feel like if you call Nick DeVries a F1 driver, you can call Liam Lawson one too.
I guess he's not a rookie. But then like Ollie Behrman subbed twice?
3 times maybe.
Maybe. So then it's like, where's the cutoff? It's kind of a feel thing, but
yeah,
I kind of agree. Also, he's older, I think, which kind of separates him.
Yeah, like this is like a younger F2 class, and he did F2, and then he's in Super Formula, and he's been around for a while.
New haircut. I mean,
it's a lot better. It's a lot better.
I could do a whole episode on his new haircut. But.
He's kind of copying the legend Jensen Button. Yeah, in a way.
It looks good.
I think it looks good.
Looks better than the penguin.
The penguin.
Kind of what I got going on, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's not as bad as that.
Not as bad, but yeah. So we got 5 rookies, which I think is the most since 2001. Let me fact check myself. 2001. Wow. So just off the bat, in for a great season in terms of spice. Just probably a lot of crashing. Probably see. I mean, how many rookies? Who do you think is going to crash in Australia? I guess we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I think at least one rookie will probably DNF.
I think odds, yes, especially like that turn 1 is pretty diabolical in Australia. So start of the race, could definitely see it, but who knows? They might be taking it slow. The teams might be like, no pressure, keep on the track.
Yeah. Kimmy, I feel like basically it's just Liam and Kimmy are the only ones who are in like a super powerful car.
I wouldn't even. Yeah,
I mean they're in the Formula A,
the top 5
compared to like Gabriel. Do you say Gabriel? Gabriel.
Bordo.
But like, yeah, kind of feel bad for him because just seems like they don't have a great car. But I guess he's in it for the long run. Hopefully Audi.
Yeah, let's get into Gabriel.
Don't know much about the kid. Brazilian, which I love.
He won F2 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Close battle with actually another driver coming to F1, Isaac Hadjar. Super close fight. I remember they've crashed a couple times with each other in F2. So they seem chill in the interviews now. They had like, did you watch that rookie video?
I saw like a couple clips, dude, and I was like,
it's pretty funny. They're pretty good, dude.
They're like so young.
Yeah, like Laura Winter was like in full like teacher mode. Like, boys, come down. Like they kept just like talking over her while she's trying to ask a question.
That's pretty good.
It was good stuff,
dude. Because they're like what, 18?
I think Kimmy's the youngest at 18.
Okay,
and the
like 18 to 20, maybe 21, maybe
18 to 21. The oldest I would guess is Jack Duan.
True. He doesn't even seem like a rookie,
he's not that old. he's just been around the paddock a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why he feels older than he is. But I would say if they're all in the same car, Gabrielle and Kimi, I feel like would be like pretty close, like top of that pack driver wise in my mind.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like. People already having doubts about Jack doing with Franco coming in. That's like a whole thing on its own.
Yeah.
Which I kind of feel bad about, but that's kind of the spiel these days. I wrote down, noted the how Red Bull's kind of, I don't know if it's happening, but could create this new trend of swapping drivers like very early in the season. Like we saw Williams do it with Logan, and just swapping drivers like might become more normal as time goes on.
Like have a good reserve driver and feel it out.
Yeah, instead of just sucking it up for a year with someone you don't like, just like, hey, we're going to swap them. Just be more like cutthroat. Like,
yeah, I hope it doesn't go that far.
I know, I don't like it.
Because like a lot of these rookies that I've seen, like one recently comes to mind is Yuki Tsunoda, needed that full year to even get up to like, should he be an F1?
Yeah.
And look at him now. He's doing great and should have had that Red Bull seat, but I won't.
It's neither here nor there. He still could, but that's also kind of what we're saying is like, if Liam doesn't perform the way they want, then Yuki's probably getting in there, and then.
Yeah, I listened to the Beyond the Grid podcast today with Liam.
Oh yeah,
pretty good. He seems locked in. He's like definitely nervous.
Yeah, I'd be so nervous.
Obviously, but I feel like he spoke his mind pretty well in the podcast, and honestly, I fuck with him.
I like him.
He seems like a good guy.
I like him. The reason we kind of joke about this is I've had a bias against him just because, I don't know.
Just because of Yuki.
Kind of Yuki, and then sometimes he just kind of bothers me. I don't know if it's just his accent or...
He's definitely a little cringy, but he was making fun of himself a lot.
Oh,
and like he had a funny little story where when Christian called him like, you're part of Red Bull, he like sent a picture to Christian in the gym mirror because he was like, geez. I'm working out. I've been working for this because like they've talked about that a lot. And he was just like smiling. He's like, just looking back on that, that is the worst thing I could have done.
That's pretty funny, actually.
So I like how he just admits to like some of the cringe and shows a bit of personality.
He's young. Yeah, I'm excited. I think the rookie is going to add a whole level to this whole year.
Yeah.
2025. And then also going into new regs, it's kind of exciting next year. So that everyone kind of gets a restart. So we could see like a couple of these guys do pretty well next year, maybe.
I think that's why they're doing it. They're kind of just taking this as like a prep year for the new regs.
Yeah,
we'll see if this is our guy or not. This is like a good year to do that, even though it's going to be super close out in the field. The rookies could play a bigger role than we think.
They could.
A lot of money on the table.
The rooks.
I do want to bring up Kimi Antonelli, though.
Please.
He's an interesting one because all I've really seen from him is that one practice session where he set a crazy lap time and then crashed right after.
I remember that.
And I think that could be a pretty common theme for the start of the year, at least. I think he's going to have some good pace, and it'll be really interesting if that Mercedes is decent to see where he ends up in the field. But he's young, dude.
He's very young.
He is young.
Like, too young. And yeah, I think he could have like a couple like good qualifying sessions, but I'm curious to see like on a hot day and like a long weekend how he'll do in the last like couple laps of a race. Just like general race pace. I'm curious how he'll do. But he's just young, yeah. And there's a lot of tension on the track. Once you get to F1, it's a lot of pressure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we both kind of thought it was not a mistake, but we maybe didn't agree with the move straight to Mercedes.
Yeah, it seemed a little premeditated.
Yeah, premeditated. Is that the right word? Premature?
Premature probably is the better one, but you know.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's a weird one, and as long as Toto is fine with a couple mistakes, which it sounds like he is, then I guess that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to this 2025 season. It's like get the nerves out, and then 2026 new regs, kind of figure it out.
Yeah, and he's a pretty funny guy too.
He seems pretty funny.
I think it's just his English isn't that good, but he seems a little airheady.
Yeah, I mean, he probably didn't go to school.
Yeah, well, it's like I was watching. There's this one Drive to Survive clip, and it's like George, Toto, and then Kimmy, and one of the cameramen jokes, "Where's Lewis?" Like, because he's always been there for like 8 years. And then they're all laughing. And then Kimmy goes, "I don't get it. Lewis isn't here." And they're like, "That's a joke." And George is like, "British humor." And then like the other one, the Alonso one, they're like, "Which rookie are you excited to battle?" And he goes, "Alonso."
Yeah, that was pretty, because Laura Winters didn't really get the joke. And then it was like, oh, this is kind of weird. But
yeah, I didn't know if it was a joke or if he's actually just serious and just didn't get the question. But
no, you know it's the joke.
You
know about that, right?
That Alonso's
he's
still
like
a rookie.
He's always young.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It was a little weird. I think he's just so young.
Yeah.
Like, even compared to us, he's young.
Dude, I like to think of my 18-year-old self in Formula One. It'd be a disaster.
Idiot. I'd probably be dumber than him.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. He seems like a good kid, though. I could see him, and I'm only basing this off him being Italian. I could see him being like we get some radio clips where we're like, whoa, this kid's pretty crazy.
I want some of this in the cockpit, some cockpit views of that.
I need some of these, like out the window passing someone. Yeah. Definitely going to be at Ferrari at some point in his career. What a crazy early call. But,
I mean, I'm sure they'd love him.
Yeah.
He might nip it from Behrman. Who knows? We haven't really talked about Behrman.
Yeah. Not a lot to say.
Yeah.
Just, I think he's obviously proved himself. But I could see this year being kind of like a weird year. Not in the car, I think, that anyone really wants. I don't really know how Haas could be. I don't know. Haas could be okay, though.
They're fine last year.
Yeah, they were fine.
Like, surprisingly good last year.
But I could imagine as a rookie, it could be like really hard being in not a super great car.
Yeah, I remember when he filled in for Haas last year, he kind of just flew under the radar because I think it's really hard to show your capabilities. Like, obviously, when he was in the Ferrari, he shocked everyone because he could actually overtake and show his racecraft. But when you're back in the field, it's tough. And we're probably just not seeing a lot of his race either. But
could be kind of an underwhelming season for him.
I mean, he's just basically just got to keep it close to Esteban, and I think that's a dub for him.
Some points here and there.
Yeah, and then another one we didn't really touch on, Isaac Hadjar, super close to beating Gabriel in the F2 championship. Highly rated driver. I've heard he's quick, but I've heard he does make the mistakes and he's a little hot-heady over the radio. So once again, reminds you of just Yuki. Screaming on the radio when he makes a mistake, and it'll be interesting.
That could be really good though. Kind of Yuki, because Yuki's kind of matured from that, so he could kind of lead him the way. Like, hey, I know what you're doing. I know I've been there, but
been there recently too.
Yeah, I'm still there.
Yeah, arguably.
But kind of like a good role model.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm also excited just to keep on the rookie stuff. Just like all the relationships with older guys, like Hulkenberg and Gabriel. Just like super interesting relationships where it's like you got the old guys and the young guys.
Well, it helps a lot that Hulkenberg's next to him because we know how Hulkenberg's been racing lately. So it's a clear test for Gabriel. Like, this is the marker. Like, how does he compare? Because I don't think in that kick Salva he's going to be racing anyone but Hulkenberg. So
no, yeah.
Hopefully it gives him enough to prove his worth.
Kind of sad, but
yeah, very sad. All right, driver friction. Want to move on?
Driver friction. Start off with McLaren.
Oh, are we going through every team?
No,
okay.
I just have a couple.
Okay.
But start off with McLaren. I'll just start by saying I'm not too worried about this team, just because I think McLaren and Zach Brown and Oh, what the
Leo
fuck?
outside the window.
Oh, that's really creepy. They kind of have a good hold on the team, I think, in general. Like McLaren always seems like not a lot of drama, which I like. But this year you got Lando, who's favored to win the Drivers' Championship on his 7th season. And then you have...
Is it number 7?
I believe it's 7.
Wow. Time flies.
And then you got Oscar Piastri, who we've seen glimpses of greatness. We've seen a few wins, I think 2 wins. We've seen a lot of good moves, just great race pace, or like decent race pace. And he's just a great guy. We like him as a fan. So I think there could be a little bit of tension just having that really good car. Again, like, I guess Oscar's first win in Hungary, we kind of saw that. Orlando didn't want to swap, stuff like that. But I'm not too worried, but I could maybe see a little bit of friction at the top because there always kind of is.
Yeah. I think it goes one of 2 ways. Number one, they learned from their mistakes from last year with the McLaren rules and overcomplicating everything, and that they will have certain plans for certain races that just make sense and both drivers are on the same page. You don't have Oscar overtaking Lando around the outside at Monza when he doesn't expect it because they're just going for the 1-2. So it's either they learn from that and really just lock in and can efficiently work with each other, or I see them getting blown up like just team like
possible.
Nico Rosberg, Hamilton vibes where they have that car to win both championships and they both want it so bad.
Yeah.
And you have Oscar, who has stronger mind, I would say, than Lando already.
Yeah, definitely.
And is getting better year by year. So once he just, fine tunes that consistency, they could be right on top of each other. Yeah,
I think they're going to be pretty close this year. I mean, you could see that just kind of like the improvement from Oscar's rookie year to his second year was just so dramatic. And then just like his composure, his poise, just like he's always kind of level-headed. So yeah, I could see it. And we saw kind of cracks in Lando in a few instances. Just like kind of not a perfect season. Obviously had a good car, but a few cracks, a few inconsistencies.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have that support from the team, like in his championship battle with Max that he had last year, he doesn't have that cover that could break him. You never know.
Yeah. And then like if Oscar's up 50 points above him, then it's like then where does the team move? The team moves.
And what does
Oscar.
that do to Lando? Because he hasn't really been the second driver since he was a rookie with Carlos.
Yeah.
And still performed incredibly well. So that's the first one I went to when I was looking at this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
I guess same.
It's high up there for me.
Yeah, I think just because the car's abilities this year.
I think car's abilities and 2 really good hungry drivers.
Yeah, definitely hungry. Next one I'll go to is Ferrari. Ferrari, my first instincts was kind of the same thing where you're saying the 1 and 2 driver. You got Charles Leclerc, the star child, the handsome, the cute, like
Italian Jesus himself.
The Monaco baby, who has always kind of been the number 1 driver, and then who is searching for that championship. And then you have Sir Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT, if you will. The
statistical GOAT.
Yeah, good kid. And he's coming in.
Chasing
so then it's
number
like
8.
And it kind of feels like he's kind of like big broing him a little bit, like, hey, I'm just coming in, probably retire in a couple years. But it's still that feeling where it's like Lewis wants to win really bad, and so does Charles. So I think that could kind of create a couple things.
Lewis feels at the start of the season 5 years younger than last season. Like
definitely.
He feels ready to go, full of enthusiasm. This one I did not gravitate towards, and I'll tell you why.
Please.
Charles knows that car in and out. I think he's going to have the jump start, especially at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced just a switch in teams will bring back peak Lewis. I think, he's been faltering in qualifying, and I don't know if that's necessarily how the Mercedes car drives. That could just be this era of cars, or it could be he's just getting older.
He's getting up there.
He's at a point where age is a factor or could be a factor. And then we'll just see how he plays with that.
Yeah, I think one thing to mention, though, is the strength of the car. It could be, I think they'll definitely win multiple races this year. So if they potentially have the best car on the grid at like a certain portion of the year, it's like, even if Lewis is old, but the car's good and they're just finishing 1-2, it's like, it could just create a lot of spice, I guess.
Yeah. And if there's potential there for either of them, yeah, they're going to go for it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly. Because I think Lewis is kind of in that mindset where it's like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to be gone pretty soon. I want to win my 8th title. Like, I'm just going to go for whatever. I don't care if Charles is pissed at me or whatever.
And maybe because last year in Mercedes, he was burnt out on the team. The car wasn't good and he just didn't have that motivation. And that's why we saw a little dip in his performance. It might not be age. It might have just been where he was at the time. So lots of unknowns.
Wasn't a great car. And then the third team I'd like to get into, Williams. Did you think about this one a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. This one I think has a lot of potential for spice. Aiden's kind of brought it up before, how Alex hasn't been pushed. He hasn't been challenged really since, I guess, like
Red Bull, Max.
Yeah. But I mean, at Williams specifically, he hasn't really ever been challenged.
Mm-mm.
I guess, but I was thinking like Franco, to a certain extent, was kind of pushing him a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially as like a young driver, it was kind of like, oh, this Franco guy, like, is Alex really all that? But and then you get Carlos into the other Williams seat, and it kind of creates this new environment where it's like, okay, who's going to be the one driver? Who's going to be the two driver? Carlos obviously coming from Ferrari. I think Carlos naturally is probably a better driver. But yeah, I think this one's going to be interesting, especially like for those scrappy points. It's kind of like they're really going to, because no one cares if you're at P11 at the end of the day. It's like they're going to be kind of pushing for those. They're going to be really fighting for those low points. So it'll be good.
Yeah, this one didn't draw me in much because I think Carlos is going to possibly wipe the floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Alex has gotten blessed with his, not blessed, but he hasn't had competitive teammates like you said. And I think even how Franco showed up in F1 as a rookie mid-season was almost a wake-up call for me on Alex might not be as good as I think he is.
Sure.
And then Carlos coming in from a very competitive season with still a point to prove.
Exactly.
And it might, Alex might have the jump on him because he knows the car, like I said earlier. And Carlos hasn't been in a non-race winning car in a while. But I think over the course of the season, Carlos is going to have it pretty handedly.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
But it might not show up points-wise because he might beat him in 75% of races, but only score a point here and there. Like it won't look as bad as it was.
Yeah.
So
I think there'll be a lot of eyes on it though, which is good. Just because I think Carlos, that kind of move to Williams, a lot of people will be kind of watching that dynamic.
And maybe they'll just lock in and focus on developing the car and building the team together.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
They're both very nice, understanding guys, so it could work out too.
Yeah, I think they potentially, you were mentioning this sponsor at Legion or whatever.
Yeah.
At Legion.
Mm-hmm.
So they could, not just that sponsor, but I could see them maybe having a better car this year. Kind of like more development. It just seems kind of they've been on the up since James Vowles has arrived. So
yeah, we
could see them kind of improving a good bit this year, which would be exciting. And especially with Carlos, like just even if they didn't have improvement, just having a better driver, they'd probably score more. So
yeah, and I don't think that title sponsor would show effects that quick.
Yeah, but it's good money.
It's still something though.
It's money.
I had a team that we did not mention.
Go for it. I got one more.
Visa Cash App Redbull Racing.
I did not mention this one.
I think both these drivers are fighting for a Formula One seat. I think Yuki's going to be under more pressure than I think people are giving him because he did not get that Red Bull seat. I think he's going to be looking elsewhere for maybe Aston Martin or wherever when the new regulations hit. we're still pushing to get in that RB seat. If Liam doesn't perform, he wants to be that guy that is ready to get the move up. And then Isaac is quick, but a little dirty, a little angry. So both of them together fighting for a seat could get spicy, especially if they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
And both report to the same helmet Marco.
Exactly. I think especially because it's part of the Red Bull program, it's kind of like that extra pressure to perform. And I think Isaac, is it Isaac? Did you say Isaac? You don't say like Isaac.
No, it's Isaac.
Isaac.
I think.
Like I think they both just kind of have that extra pressure. And then Yuki he's kind of getting to that verge of like, am I too old to be in the RB? You know, it's like.
For sure he is. I think he's pretty much exactly like this is his season where Gasly was before he left the team. He's like, if I'm not going to get promoted again, I have to find a seat elsewhere
to do something
to survive.
Else. Yeah. Which, I think this could be good for him. But I mean, let's not forget, Daniel Ricciardo last year and Liam Lawson, I would say Yuki outperformed both of them. Although he did have more experience in that car, he has held his ground pretty well against new people coming in.
Liam was close,
but
not a big group of races to compare.
Yeah, I think also, I'm biased though. I like Yuki, but yeah, I think it could be. I think Yuki could also sweep the floor though with him, like you were saying about Carlos.
Yeah. No, for sure.
It could be either way,
and possibly they might not have as much pressure if the Red Bull isn't a good car.
Yeah.
If Red Bull isn't performing and, it's not like, Liam, what are you doing? Like, we're fighting for this championship, then they might just be able to just go through the motions and get to next season.
Yeah, maybe just keep the same lineup until next season. But yeah. I did write down Red Bull. Not too worried about Red Bull. Just because I don't think Liam will challenge Max. But yeah, I just thought maybe I'd mention it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hard car to drive. And I think, Liam won't be close to the wizard.
Yeah, I don't think he will be. I could see a little bit. I think Liam could get a little hot-headed sometimes, especially like with all that pressure at being at Red Bull.
We saw that last year with Checo when they were battling in Mexico and he flipped him off. You remember that?
Really? No.
Yeah. It was during the Mexico race and they were like fighting back and forth, wheel banging. Both, I think, got damaged and then he like flipped Checo off when he was going by.
Wow. You're talking about Liam and Checo. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is like we've seen him have a few moments where it's like he makes contact with other drivers. So
yeah, what I'm really interested to see is when Max and Liam are next to each other on track for a competitive position, how will he act? Will he conform to the number 2 role or not? We'll see.
That's what, I don't know.
I assume
think
he
probably will. I think he probably will.
He wants to hold on to that Red Bull seat and play the politics. So I think he's smart enough to not get too out there with it. And I think just the Checo one went overboard because he knew he was strictly battling Checo for that race seat for next year. Yeah. And the emotions went out and clearly they're both frustrated. So
but Liam won and then look who's in whose car.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I have on Friction, I think.
Cool. Should we go to constructors picks? Top 5?
Top 5, sure, man.
Okay. My number 5.
Super curious about this because mine are like super random.
I think 5th is almost the most interesting one on this list.
Okay.
Because it's not the top 4 teams. It's top of the midfield.
Yeah.
And I've gone with Alpine.
I've also gone with Alpine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I picked them because they're looking better at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
They still have that Renault soul in them. And I think they have the people there to make a decent car. And rumor has it they had a good testing and could come out strong for the start of the season.
Yeah, I think kind of what you're saying. I think most of the teams, the beginning of the season will most likely kind of come out like how it ended. And Alpine had such a good trajectory at the end of the season. But yeah, I had them. Pierre's coming back, obviously. Yeah.
Pierre's been in great form too.
Yeah,
so.
he has. I think he's super level-headed. The buzz cut looks bad.
Yep. And, he tried it out, and it's not working. But Revenge Tour.
It looks horrible.
It looks horrible.
He should have just done like a normal, just kind of shorter.
Yeah, maybe a little spiked up in the front.
Yeah,
something. You gotta cover the forehead a little bit, or just go bald and get jacked, like I always say.
He's not that bald though. That's the weird thing.
No.
He's I think he just kind of has like a weird head shape.
Yeah,
all the time with a helmet.
Yeah, I think he's definitely balding, but
no, definitely. He's also 27.
Yeah, you want to get me that PBR?
Yeah, I didn't really bring it for you, but yeah, I'll give it to you.
That's okay. I don't need it.
It's fine. I have a lot. Dude, my sister started watching Drive to Survive, and she started at the first season.
Wow, good for her.
Kind of funny. Yeah. I was like, what's happening?
I mean, she's probably not going to watch it right now anyways, so you might as well start.
Yeah,
from the beginning.
I think that's what she thought. And she was like naming out people, and I was like, oh yeah.
Like Marcus Ericsson? Yeah. Okay. You want to talk about I guess you already talked about Alpine.
Yeah, that's fine.
My number 4. Where do you want to go this time?
Sure. I went for Mercedes.
So did I. Wow.
This could be boring.
It's written down too, people.
Mercedes, it kind of just goes back to what I was saying, is I think they didn't have a great year last year. We didn't see a whole lot of improvement. And it doesn't seem like, based on a couple things I've heard, it doesn't seem like they've improved a lot since last year. Russell, obviously, good driver, but then I think having Kimi, ultimately, even though he could be a great driver, I think that just kind of lowers you just naturally. It's a rookie, probably not going to have the best season. And that's why I have him there.
I think they're a bit overhyped right now because there were colder conditions in testing. Sure. And if you remember the last year, they were pretty OP in colder weather. Yeah, get some of that in there. So I think it's kind of a false, what is that? False summit?
Prophecy?
I don't know. Whatever. I'm bad at metaphors on the podcast.
That's okay.
And then, like you said, with the rookie, it could be some crashes here and there. George isn't even that consistent himself. So we will see.
Yeah. I think they're just kind of an inconsistent team. And yeah, Lewis leaving, I think maybe he might have left for a reason too.
And I think if they're not great this year, they're going to go full prep mode for next year.
Yeah. I could also see that kind of happening where Toto's just we're just going to invest in 2026. Make a few tweaks here and there, but
absolutely nail those
which
regulations.
Yeah, which he probably will, honestly.
Yeah,
probably will. You want to go number 3?
Yeah, number 3. I have Red Bull.
Me too.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
It's almost like we do a podcast together.
Wow.
This is, I just think their car was just not looking great in the last year. I think Max will do the most again, but I think it's going to be hard to get it in that working window, and they'll have some pretty bad races here and there.
Yeah.
And then Liam's a big unknown. He could really struggle with the knife edge that car is very oversteery, and just a lot of unknowns coming out of the Red Bull camp for me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. I think they had obviously a great start of the season last year, which I think kind of got piggybacked from 2023. And then when you kind of have that thing going, then it's like a lot of those points that Max and the team had by the end of the year were mostly from the beginning of the year, which kind of which I don't think they'll start as strong this year. So obviously I think they'll have just kind of less points in terms of the team. And then also Liam being another rookie. He could struggle with the car. Max, I think he'll win a couple races this year, just because I think he's good, and there could be a couple tracks that kind of do well with the car. But yeah, that's kind of what I have in there.
I agree with it all. Number 2, take it away.
Here's where we might differ.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
I was gonna make a joke and say some shit team, but McLaren.
Okay.
What'd you say? Ferrari?
Ferrari.
Yeah. This is purely because I want to be interesting. Not purely, but I didn't want to pick McLaren because I thought you would probably pick McLaren. I think they're favored.
We should probably just say who we picked because
Oh.
they probably know already. You
What?
picked Ferrari to
I
win.
picked Ferrari,
and I
yeah.
picked McLaren. And
Yeah,
then we
okay.
can, talk
True,
about it.
True. So yeah, I mostly did this to be interesting. Also, it's just so unknown. I could see McLaren having a great year. I could see Ferrari having a great year. I just can't really tell. But I think it'll be those two teams up top.
Yeah, I think just McLaren has too much momentum coming into this year. Heard great things out of testing. I heard Karun Chandok was just like
Oozing.
thrilled, oozing, however you want to put it, about their race pace.
Okay.
Which is a big deal. And we know that both drivers can stick it on pole here and there, and
Definitely.
both know how to win a race. And yeah, with that being a favorite going into this, they're just going to push even harder, and I think it's going to be hard to stop them. Yeah,
we also saw a lot of good progression throughout the last season. When they needed to upgrade their car, they did. I think they could have a great season. Ferrari, I don't really know. I just kind of went for it, but I think it could be the same thing. We saw a lot of good upgrades from Ferrari, a couple good wins. We got Lewis coming in, which I'm kind of excited for. Could be a good one. Maybe Lewis knows something we don't.
Maybe he does. I mean, I'm sure, almost positive he does.
He definitely does.
But is it propaganda?
Could be.
Italian propaganda.
I love propaganda.
Yeah, my big thing about not picking Ferrari is that they just don't have that consistency that McLaren has, at least last year.
Sure.
McLaren just felt like they were up there every single race, no matter what the track was, what the conditions were. And Ferrari took a little more time to get in that window.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Red Bull, but, still tough. But if both Charles and Lewis, great on race pace, decent qualifiers. Charles is a great qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're gonna be strong for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be those two up top. But
yeah,
pretty similar picks. I'm surprised.
Yeah, me too.
Surprised we both said Red Bull 3.
Yeah, that and then the Alpine one
and Mercedes. Honestly,
I think Mercedes is. I knew that was gonna that was my first lock Mercedes in at number 4.
Yeah,
that's fair. That was a gimme.
Okay.
Drivers.
Sure.
This is where it's gonna differ.
This is definitely gonna differ a lot.
Okay, you want to start with 5?
I had 6. I'm so stupid.
You could
top
say
6.
You could say 6 if you want.
No, I can't.
Okay.
Oh, it's because wait, no, I don't. I have 5. Okay, number 5. Well, I have someone twice, which is so dumb.
Okay. This guy.
Okay, number 5. You want me to start?
Sure.
Oscar Piastri.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty low.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of talent above him. Not really a lot to say, but I'm curious where you're going to put him, and then I'll kind of move in throughout that.
Okay.
But you don't have to say him right now. But
yeah.
Give me your 5.
My 5th place is George Russell.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think
interesting.
They're gonna have an okay car, but he'll still slide in there here and there. And
interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm still a great driver. I don't know what else to say.
I'm curious who else is gonna fit into those other 4 drivers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
because you had him at the 4th team.
They are on the 4th team, and maybe a lot of the points deductions is Kimi Antonelli.
Okay. Yeah,
I think
that's true.
4th,
That's true.
Or 5th is definitely doable for a 4th ranked team.
It's definitely nothing to be shabby about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a George Russell fan too. I got the hat.
You got the hat.
I got the
Doesn't
hat.
fit you.
It does fit me well.
Number 4. Give me Lewis Hamilton.
Okay.
So obviously I said Ferrari. I think it'll take a little bit of time for him to get used to the car. He's getting a little older. I know we kind of hyped him up a little bit, but we did see some inconsistencies in qualifying, a little bit of complaining. So I think if it's not that number 1 Ferrari car, like I've been saying, I could see him kind of dropping down exponentially in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting to have your Ferrari number one and then him down there, but
It is.
you're spreading your eggs
What I
a
do.
little bit.
What I do.
And Charles just might have the best season ever. So
Could be.
my fourth is Charles Leclerc.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's gonna struggle with a little bit of inconsistency with the car. He'll be there here and there, but just might lack that consistency throughout the whole year.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times. Number 3, Lando Norris.
Okay.
So pretty low probably compared to you.
Yeah.
This is purely speculation on the idea of McLaren not upgrading well throughout the year and maybe just being a little overhyped.
Okay. Maybe some team drama.
Again, we haven't seen great things out of Lando. We've seen a lot of good things that he's done. We've seen good race pace.
Some 22nd wins. I think that's pretty.
That's good. That's
pretty
good.
spectacular.
We've seen a couple mistakes.
Max Verstappen-esque.
And yeah, that's why I'm having on number 3.
Okay. My number 3 is Oscar Piastri.
Okay.
I think he's going to be in that very quick McLaren, but won't have enough points / pace to keep it up there.
Yeah. Kind of struggled with a little bit of race pace last year. Still learning, but yeah. I think 3rd place is reasonable.
I think he's just going to be mad consistent in 3, like lower podiums and
yeah. Win a couple
some high
races.
points. Yeah.
Number 2.
You want to go number 1 and then number 2? You just say number 2.
I'll just say number 2 and number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Max Verstappen.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Charles Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc.
It's a Ferrari season, man.
Wow.
That's how I feel. I feel really good about their development. That's not a lot of evidence. That's not an evidence-based comment. But yeah, I think Max will have a good season. Obviously, he's probably the best driver on the grid right now. So I think even though they might not have the strongest car, I could see him just kind of scrapping out some wins, having a few good battles, and then if not winning, just getting really consistent high points. And a few poles. I could see him qualifying really well. Just fucking pushing himself.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of all you can do when you don't have the best car. Just kind of qualify really well. So
yeah, I think it's dumb not to have Max up in the top 1 or 2.
yeah, I think so too.
I have Max Verstappen number 2, Lando Norris number 1.
I like it.
Lando Norris, he's the favorite to go into the season, but I think he got a taste from last year of what it's like to fight for a championship. And he had that from Miami on. Even after Miami, started the season, he had no idea he was even going to win a race that year.
Sure.
So with the full season at his fingertips with arguably the best car, the favored car going into the season, I think he's going to push himself and pump in some good races and get that dub. And
hopefully
then,
it's not too much pressure.
Hopefully it's not. We'll see. It's going to be either this or he's not going to win almost. If he can't win a season with this much hype going into it, and he falters, obviously you never know what's going to happen in the season, but if it's shocking, then he's not going to win one.
Especially last year of regulations, no one really knows what could happen next year.
Yeah.
They could have a shit car. This is kind of make or break.
You don't have shots at the championship often.
No, you don't. But I'm just excited. Hopefully it's not Max. As much as I like Max, it would be cool if Max won with not the best car.
That'd be pretty legendary.
That would be pretty cool. But it would also be nice to see Lando or Charles on winning a driver championship.
Share the level a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I had Max number 2. Pretty much exactly what you said, that he's not going to have the best car, but he's still going to do Max things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's foolish to put him anywhere lower than 3rd.
Foolish.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Okay. Should we go into Australia?
No.
Oh.
Bold prediction
fuck.
for the season, and then we can move on into Australia.
Okay. I just kind of have... You go first.
Okay.
I don't really have anything concrete.
I thought a little bit about this, it's not even the boldest prediction, but I think at some point in the season, Yuki Tsunoda will be in a Red Bull seat.
Oh,
I'm not saying it's for good or like
no, that's
contract for next
prediction.
year, but yeah, he's going to be driving the Red Bull at some point this year.
So give me a scenario, as in Liam gets hurt or dropped.
It could just be Liam Max beef. It could be Liam can't handle the car. It could be he's crashing too much. I think that's probably the most probable one, and that they think just throw Yuki in there and be like, you're a little more experienced, don't crash the fucking car.
Yeah, like might as well. We're getting mid points out of Liam. Let's just see what you can do.
Yeah, and I assume that it was very, very close between Yuki and Liam in the first place, so I don't think they would have that much reservation to switch back on him at some point.
I agree.
So that's my
That's pretty
prediction.
cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and obviously I love Yuki, so that's part of it.
I'm going with, by the end of the year, there will be 25 registered F1 drivers who have competed in a race.
That's a lot, dude.
That's bold.
That's
it's
a
called
lot.
bold, man. I think there were 24 last year. Maybe 23.
Yeah.
But, hey, man, a lot of rookies. I don't know. That's pretty bold, but I think it'll be at least a few people will be in we'll be in a race that we haven't seen. Reserve drivers, there's a lot of talented reserve drivers. A lot of them haven't been announced, but
there could be some more appendicitis on the grid. You never know.
Like Daniel Ricciardo breaking his wrists.
Yeah.
Like that's such a random thing to happen.
Yeah.
Felipe Drugovich, get in there.
Get him in there.
Get him in the
I
car.
would love that.
Lance
dude.
crash, like pretty injured, concussion
just
out for a week.
retires. Please.
Dude, if I was him, I would just move to Europe and just like party.
Yeah. Just go scooter.
Yeah.
Scooter
I would
around
just
Europe.
drink all day, probably.
Yeah. I mean,
If I was him.
that'd get pretty tough. And that's coming from me. Okay.
Okay, I like those are good though.
Those are fun. Australia.
I don't have a lot on Australia just because I don't know. I don't like the first race of the season because we just don't know that much.
That's why I love the first race of the season.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying I don't have any like super insightful things to say because it's like
this car is going to be good at this track and like that kind of stuff.
It's like no one really knows.
Yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from. I do want to say though that Melbourne.
Did I tell you? Sorry, so a little side note. So my parents went to Australia, and my mom comes home, and she's like showing us pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And she just dropped it. She says, "Yeah, and this was Melbourne."
Yeah,
she like
just fully goes for it.
Doesn't even acknowledge, like not even trying to make a joke. Just like, and we're like, "What?" Yeah, it was super funny.
That's good stuff.
Melbourne. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, I think they just bring the energy for this race. Like very pretty shots of the Formula One race and skyline, and I think it's just got a bit more like pizzazz,
some
like
culture.
Like some culture than obviously Bahrain or
Qatar.
Like one of the Middle Eastern tracks that just feel like no one's there. So it feels like a celebration. I feel like that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and there's some history behind Australia. You got Mark Webber. He's Australian.
Yep. They've also started the season there a lot in the past.
Good.
Yeah.
Piastri. Last year, Australia was great. Max DNFing and Carlos winning.
That was a great story.
It was a pretty not the best on track racing, but
the year before that, we had the 2 red flags. Just chaos.
That.
The Alpines crashed with each other. There's like 8 cars that like spun out on.
I think like
that turn.
3 or 4 cars DNF'd last year.
It's a high DNF track.
It's like close.
It's close and it's high speeds and hard to overtake. And rain expected on Sunday.
Should we get into weather?
Yeah.
We should do like a cool like weather segment. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
If one of us like did like a whole like weather thing.
Super into it.
Yeah. Very warm conditions on Saturday.
Yep.
So
tires are going to be screaming qualifying.
Oh.
Help me.
which is fun. And then also super wet or potentially wet and humid on Sunday, which if you're a fan of the podcast, you know that Aiden and I, we like weather, but we don't like a lot of weather.
We don't like it too wet.
We don't like it too wet because then it kind of just like there's not a lot of overtaking, but
everything in moderation. Give me some interns. Give me dry start.
Sure.
Dampness to inters. Dry.
Bang.
Perfect race.
That's fine.
Who's going to go on it first? You know, who's going to jump the gun? Who's going to fuck up and stay out? Like, yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Give it to me.
So, yeah, it could be really wet, though. And I think it'll be warm, which will be interesting. So,
when I think of Australia, I think of it as either not raining or pouring. So, I don't know if we get those sprinkle conditions out there.
Probably not.
This is why we need to dive into the weather.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, let's get super into meteorology.
Yeah. And that plays into my picks too for later. Just a little preface.
Okay, interesting. I didn't really play that in, but naturally I probably did play it in.
Yeah, just subconsciously.
I'd also like to mention, do you know how many DRS zones there are?
4.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I got it right too.
Yeah.
You even say that. Well, good job, man. Yeah, I remember when they added the 4th.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's like,
and they need it though.
Yeah. I don't know. Not a huge DRS zone guy, but 4, it just like sounds like a lot. Because I don't think it's a super long track.
I think that might be average
bullshit.
Maybe slightly above average.
Oh.
I don't know. It's not short.
It just looks kind of short.
Yeah, goes around a lake, Green Lake. Only the OG listeners will get it. No,
not even OG.
Not even. Just our friends.
Just people if you're from Seattle.
But yeah, especially with these rookies, it's not an easy track. A lot of them have not raced here either. I think it's only an F1 racetrack. I don't think F2 races here.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Comment if I'm wrong. And then, yeah, we got the weather coming in. I don't know.
High speed.
We'll see.
Again, it's just like no one really knows what cars are going to do well.
I don't really know what to talk about almost with it. It's just we'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, I think next week we'll have like some intel of what the cars can do at certain speeds and corners, and we can kind of go off that. So
definitely.
I'm not going to just like say some bullshit.
Exactly. Because we're more evidence bases here, guys. It's not all feels.
It's not just feel. Except my fucking number 1 pick was feel, so it's all good.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty speculative. So I feel like you can see feels in there.
That's true. And it's probably a pretty good pick.
You want to go into betting? Do you want to go into podium? Do you want to go into
just straight off?
Okay.
Let's do pole first.
I got Lando.
Max Verstappen.
Okay.
Yeah. So kind of getting into what I'm saying is like that. I think even though they might not have the best car, I think he's still just gonna have to push.
Yeah.
And he's got that daddy mentality now. Didn't he have a kid? Or
I think
pregnant?
She's pregnant. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I think mid-season baby. We'll see how that affects him.
Dude. Wow. Yeah. Wait. What does he do? Does he take time off?
No. You can't take time off.
I don't know.
It's Formula One.
Yeah, but like
he's gonna be stay at home and he's gonna come visit when he comes.
Yeah, they're so rich. It doesn't matter.
It's fucking life, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't be surprised if she they just have a nanny and she just dips out for a while. Like just goes to a race. Like just goes to a race. Like I don't know. I don't know what it's like living with that kind of money.
Yeah, no, they definitely.
They might just bring the baby everywhere.
Yeah,
they have a private jet.
Do.
Like
they probably do.
Have a crib on the jet. Like I don't know.
True.
It's different.
Call in if you know.
Yeah.
We should have like a live phone.
That'd be
and we like
crazy.
Answer it. You're live.
Yeah.
You're live on air. And they're like, penis or whatever.
Once we get a Patreon, we'll have Patreon people call in.
We're live. They're definitely going to say something super funny
stuff. You never know. Our audience might be extremely intelligent.
Just
super well mannered and intelligent.
Intelligent. No, but that was kind of like British. Intelligent.
It wasn't on purpose.
Give me number 3.
You said Max, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Number 3, I have Lando Norris.
Ooh,
he will not convert from pole, and I think I did this a little bit because of the weather. I think it's gonna add some spice in there. Like Lando and McLaren are known for like not getting the pit stop down at the perfect time. There's a lot of indecision with him and his race engineer, Will Joseph. I just, there's a lot of unpredictability.
Yeah, I also wouldn't say Lando's not known for being a wet weather driver. I would not say that.
I would say he's better than most, just growing up in the UK.
Sure.
I mean, like, obviously Max on wets is gonna outperform him.
Yeah,
and we've seen that before.
Number 3, I got Oscar Piastri.
Cool.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they'll probably do well. They did pretty well last year. Oscar just coming in hot. So yeah.
Did you know there's never been an Aussie on the podium?
Really?
In the books. Ricardo got 3rd place and then got his podium taken away, I think, for his car was too light, kind of like a George Russell spa incident. Comment if I'm wrong. I didn't double check this. I meant to. But that'd be pretty cool for Oscar.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Like Mark Webber.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo. Some big names.
A win would be dope.
A win would be crazy.
Dude, winning your home country. Crazy. Logan Sargent in Austin.
The Aussie fans would go
Miami.
Stupid.
Logan Sargent stepping away from motorsport.
Yeah. Should we get into that? No.
Probably not.
Go work for your dad and make millions of dollars anyways.
No. Yeah, he'll probably do. I bet he'll stay in it in some way. Number 2, you want to hit me?
Max Verstappen.
I got Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. Coming off hot. I think he could. I think he's going to hit this season pretty hard right off the bat. So
yeah. You didn't even mention that Lewis wasn't in my top 5.
Okay, yeah. Because remember I was asking, I was like, who of the... Because it was...
Because I had George in there, so...
Yeah, you had someone who wasn't in the top 4 team.
Yeah, Lewis and Liam aren't in there.
Yeah, I knew Liam. Okay, Lewis. Wow.
Yeah. I'm bold.
Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Wedding
Lewis
Crashers.
Hamilton.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about Lewis. Just kind of thought it would be fun.
Mine is also weather. I think Max, if it's a little bit wet, obviously he's very good in the wet. And also he just knows when to be like, all right, I'm pitting for inters. And then they just do it.
Yeah,
so,
he's got great feel.
Great feel. In all aspects of life.
Number 1, I'm going to go Lando Norris.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had Max on pole?
Yeah. And so yeah,
okay.
Max something's happening.
He's just not on the list.
No.
He's on the naughty list. Okay. I have Oscar Piastri.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just went for it.
I like that.
I'm not necessarily like this is gonna happen, but I'm gonna be rooting for it.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good shot at it, and
I picked
him. Yeah.
I think that's fun. It's also fun like to kind of root for. So.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to say about your winner at all?
My Lando. It's funny because I keep contradicting myself because I'm like I think Ferrari's gonna have a great season, and then I'm like Lando Norris
is gonna win.
He's gonna win.
They might just be starting out hot. Like you never know.
Yeah, they did well last year. Ferrari and McLaren did pretty well last year here. So yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
I mean, I would like both outcomes.
Yeah. I think it'll be Ferrari, McLaren, kind of like top 2 teams at Australia.
Cool. Betting.
All right.
You want to go first?
Sure.
Go for it, man.
Okay. I have... Oh, wait. Let me get my phone out. I took a picture. I had to make some adjustments. Okay. Wow, that's super annoying. Dude, well, then you fucking go.
Okay, I will. I had it pulled up. First bet. So, preface, I did 5 bets.
Me too.
I got number 1, Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri. I got Oscar Piastri.
Bold.
Plus 190.
Wow. Okay, so let me just preface. How much money did you lose last year?
I lost $17. When we're betting 100 every race, it's not that big of a deal.
$17. Kind of a lot. I think I lost I don't know, 3, 5.
3, it says right there.
327. Yeah. Oh, okay. Perfect. So you're just going for it. You're just going plus whatever. I guess I'll wait.
That's my boldest one, okay?
All right.
Don't judge yet. Don't judge yet. Next bet. Lewis Hamilton versus George Russell. The old ones back together. I got George Russell on this. He's in his car that he was in last year. Knows the team, is comfortable. Number 1 driver now. He's gonna get it done.
Give me a spread on that.
Oh, plus
or money
105.
Plus 105. Okay, so it's like a 50-50 battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, right.
No,
we're not switching off. Sorry. Next bet, I got Carlos Sainz versus Pierre Gasly.
So random, but
I picked Pierre because I think Alpine's going to have the better car at the start of the season, and that's plus 155
what?
for Pierre Gasly. I was I almost bet $10 on that, dude.
That's a lock.
Yeah.
That's a lock.
I know. I felt pretty good about that one.
Wow.
Next bet, Lando Norris fastest qualifier. That's plus 185. That just shows you they don't know. The books don't even know, which is very exciting.
Bet online.
And then I have top 3 finish in the Australian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen.
I like that.
Plus 100.
Okay.
$2 to win $2.
Okay, so what's your total outcome?
So it's 10 to win 1470. So it's not crazy. It's 150. It's 150.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's plus 140 is my average.
Okay. I like a few of those. I don't love the top finishes just because I think, I don't know, they're just kind of scary.
Max Verstappen a top 3 finish though is yeah.
It's not though. Whatever. I guess we'll see. So I will start with George Russell beating Kimi Antonelli.
Minus 200.
Minus 350.
Wow.
Put $3.50 to win $1.
Sheesh.
Pretty confident in that one. As long as George doesn't DNF, I think he should have that on lock. That'd be extremely embarrassing and or very exciting if Kimi Antonelli beats George in the first race of the year.
Well put.
So that'll be fun. Then I have Esteban Ocon beating Ollie Behrman. Teammate battle. I have that minus 185. I think
you're just preying on the rookies.
I'm preying on the rookies. Basically, you'll kind of notice a theme here, but
that's not a bad move.
yeah, I'm pretty much just really going after the rookies here. So Esteban, obviously, with some more experience. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I feel okay about that one. Then I have Alex Albon versus Carlos Sainz. I took Alex Albon.
Yeah.
And which is kind of bold just because I think Carlos is a better driver. But for the first race of the season, I'm going to take Alex.
If he's going to win, it's going to be this race.
It's going to be this race. Exactly.
I like it.
That was plus 125.
Good bet.
So
Good bet. Yeah.
Then I have Lewis Hamilton versus George Russell. Teammate battle. Same one as you had.
Yep.
Give me Lewis Hamilton.
Old teammate battle. But yeah, I got it. What do you mean? Yeah.
Fuck you.
Sure.
And
I got to chirp you when you pick the other guy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'm just taking that because I think Ferrari will have a better race than Mercedes.
Can't wait for Lewis Hamilton to finish 7th place.
And that was minus 135. And then I have Lando Norris against Charles Leclerc. I have him at minus 200. And so I took Lando Norris.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I think should happen.
So what, you bet $10 win $2?
5. That's how I do it though. I mean, come on, look at the stats.
All right.
Who's down 17 and who's down 3? Both down.
Hey, that's in the past.
Hey, history. Got to study the history to understand the present.
I beat you in fantasy, so.
I quit fantasy halfway through.
Quitters are losers.
Yeah, I could agree with that. But yeah, I feel pretty good about a couple of those. I think worst case, I lose like a couple dollars.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's gonna hold any any opinions if you lose all of them because it's the start of the season. So
Yeah. There's just so many unknowns.
yeah, it's good stuff, dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Very excited. Don't think we have a lot more to talk about.
I got to piss, so
Good.
You down to wrap this up?
Yeah.
Cool. Comment anything you want to see this season differently that we're doing.
Maybe some fun ideas, some like good segments. Call in if you want.
Mm-hmm. You know when we do it. You probably don't.
No, I have no idea.
You can probably figure it out though.
Wednesdays from like 5 p.m.
Pacific Standard Time. Yeah.
You can probably call me.
You guys get it.
My mom somehow knows.
Yeah.
But
well, you just moved out of your house. So, but
remember she used to call me like every time.
Yeah.
Like, what did you ever have to say?
Nothing.
All right. Never anything. All right.
Peace.
Hey.
Keep it real.
Good vibes. Good vibes.